Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Houston Sports Talk back in the video today, and today we're going to be talking about the Houston Texans playing the Tennessee Titans. It's going to be an interesting matchup. Texans play the Titans in Tennessee. Last couple times we've seen the Texans face the Tennessee Titans in Tennessee, they've had backup quarterbacks. In 2023, it was Case Keenum stepping up for the Houston Texans and winning in overtime, and last year was in Week 18. C.J. Stroud played one series. The Texans connected for a touchdown. I'm trying to remember. I think C.J. Stroud threw a touchdown past Nico Collins, if memory serves me correctly. If not, it was a Joe Mixon touchdown. But, the starters got one series, then Davis Mills played the rest of the game, and Damian Pierce and Davis Mills played a really good game last year against Tennessee. Although the Texans had already clinched the division at that point, so that game didn't really matter, but it was a good win. So actually, C.J. Stroud is in his third season in the league. He's never played a full game in Tennessee. He's played one series so far in Tennessee, with being out tomorrow again. So yeah, it's gonna be tough to see C.J. Stroud missing another game, but I've got confidence in the Texans winning this one. The Tennessee Titans are a really bad team. Cam Ward, has struggled against this defense. I think he's really struggled against this defense in Week 4 when the Texans faced him and won, shut out the Titans. And I think this Texans defense actually has probably improved a little bit since then. The Texans added in Danico Autry, who was injured at the time in Week 4. He's really been a great part of this defense. I think Danielle Hunter has really stepped it up since then as well. So with the addition of Danico Autry from the last time the Texans faced the Titans, and then also the fact that, Danielle Hunter has been playing, I think, a lot better, I think it's a tougher challenge for this Titans offensive line and Cam Ward as a quarterback to deal with all those defensive linemen going after him. But, also you can look at the fact that, the Texans are also going to be missing Jalen Petrie in this game. He is someone the Texans did have out there in Week 4 when they beat the Tennessee Titans. But I still think it's going to be a really tough challenge for a young quarterback and Cam Ward to face. Like, other really good quarterbacks who have more experience have had a tough time. Like, Week 1, Matthew Stafford had his struggles with this Texans defense. Yes, the Rams beat them. They beat the Texans. But this Rams offense has been one of the best offenses in the entire NFL. And how many points did they score against the Texans? 14 points. And it was not a good start to the season. Stafford did not look amazing in that game, and I think that was just because of the Texans' defense. The Texans, Week 4, made Cam Ward look terrible. They made, Cooper Rush look terrible in Week 5, and those are not, that's not impressive. That's Cooper Rush and Cam Ward. But then they made Mac Jones, who's looked great. Mac Jones has looked great with the 49ers, but his worst game was against the Texans and looked awful against the Texans. And then, you've got last week facing Trevor Lawrence, made him look like crap. And there have been times where Trevor Lawrence has played a lot of better football this season. So, they made it really tough on Bo Nix as well, who's had a really good year. This Texans defense has taken a toll on quarterbacks this season. Their pass defense has been one of the best in the NFL. That's because of the defensive linemen that are going after these quarterbacks, and Will Anderson and Danielle Hunter. It's not often that quarterbacks that face the Houston Texans have gone over 200 passing yards this year. It's happened a couple times. It's not been rare. Lawrence only had 150 last week. Mac Jones didn't even go over 200 against this defense, and he's been doing that most of his games against the Texans. Bo Nix didn't go over 200 either. The Texans have, I think 3 straight games of not allowing 200 passing yards in a game to a quarterback. Really, the only guy that's done it against this defense recently is Sam Darnold. But, so I'm confident in the defense stepping up tomorrow for the Houston Texans in this game. And then the offense, I think they just have to do a small part, right? I think they've got to get a couple. I think they just really need, I would say, I'm not gonna say 1 touchdown and 3 field goals and they easily win this game. But I think if you can get 2 of each, if you can get 2 touchdowns and 2 field goals, the Texans are gonna win this game easy. Maybe 2 touchdowns, 3 field goals, and this is gonna be an easy one for the Houston Texans to grab. and get back to 500, 5-5. But the only question is, what happens after this? Like, what happens after this? If the Texans get a dub and they're 5-5, back at 500 and in the playoff picture, do they what do they do going into back home? What is this arrangement with the starting quarterback? Is CJ Stroud going to be available to come back? Even if he is available, do they want to keep rolling with Davis Mills if the Texans are 2-0 with Mills? I have no clue. Also, do want to remind all Texans fans, watching tomorrow's games, there is a way the Houston Texans tomorrow could be back in the playoff picture at the 7th seed in the AFC playoffs. If the Texans win tomorrow and the Jacksonville Jaguars lose to the Los Angeles Chargers, and on top of that as well, the Kansas City Chiefs lose to the Denver Broncos, the Houston Texans will take the 7th seed. The Texans hold the tiebreaker over the Jaguars over there because their win over them. So they jump over the Jaguars in the standings. And they'd also jump over the Chiefs in the standings as well. If you're wondering why, they would, because of just the amount of AFC record. If the Texans win tomorrow, their record against AFC teams will be 4-2, and then the Chiefs would be, I believe, 2-4 against AFC teams, or it's either 2-4, 3-3. Anyways, the Texans' record, AFC record, would be better than the Chiefs, and that's something that takes effect during tiebreakers in the AFC or in NFC either. So if the Chiefs and the Jags lose tomorrow and the Texans win, they are the 7th seed. Doesn't matter what the Ravens do because the Texans hold the tiebreaker over them as well. So it could be a four-way tie. It could be a four-way tie tomorrow. If the Ravens win as well, Chiefs lose, Jags lose, and Texans wins, then you got 4 teams right in the mix at 5-5. That'd be very interesting. But the Texans would be at the top of those teams because they hold tiebreakers because of beating teams like Jacksonville and Baltimore, and then they'd have that better AFC record than Kansas City, and they'd be right there in the 7th seed. So get in it by saying go Texans, go Chargers, go Broncos. So those are the teams I'm rooting for tomorrow. You guys give me your thoughts on the game in the comment section, and peace out, go Texans.